Hello and welcome back to the GAMRs YouTube channel. I'm your host LJ90 and this is episode 2 of our Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires Let's Play. In this episode we're still a vagabond unit. Some time has passed. I've recruited a Sun Jian and a creator officer. But this time around I want to show you one specific type of quest you can do as a vagabond unit, and that is the assassination quest chain line. Now the assassinations are fairly simple. You find a target and you have to sneak around, don't get yourself detected, and then kill the target. What makes the assassinations different from the other quest lines is the later assassinations have a direct impact on your run through. Once you've unlocked Assassinate the Officer, which we're about to do right now, you can actually affect the landscape of your current empire's run through. Officers, regional lords, and rulers that show up for the assassination chain line, once you assassinate them, you actually kill them. So what we're going to do here, we're trying to sneak around and get to Huangai without being noticed. Now, it doesn't matter if the spot turrets notice you, it only matters if the torch troops notice you, and their line of sight is really iffy. You can be right behind them and they won't see you, but sometimes they can spot you from a mile away. So it's really hit or miss. If they do detect you, it is not an instant failure. Your target will just move to an evacuation point. And if you can manage to kill them before they reach the assassination point, you can still succeed the mission. So you see, I've reached Huangai here, and he's handing out that young fade. So let's try and deal with him now. Now, if we successfully complete this assassination, Huangai will die. Now, if you have Officer Death turned on, that means Huangai will not return. He is dead. No coming back from that. It's not a KO or anything. He's dead. And you'll notice he's giving his death quote right now. So we have removed Huangai from the map. Now, when I say this affects the landscape of your run-through, that means whoever Huangai was serving has just lost him as an officer. So this is a really handy way for you to remove troublesome officers from forces, or remove prefects, or even remove a troublesome ruler through this relatively easy quest chain. Now, I'm going to attempt to pass some time here and try to get to another one. So the titles, you saw I just earned 2 more titles. I will give a more in-depth explanation of titles in a later episode. Now I want to talk about virtue. I briefly covered it before. Virtue, there are 5 virtue levels, and it's fairly simple. Virtue can either be positive, the smiley face, or negative, the evil face. And it's those 5 basic levels. You'll earn titles based on how much you increase your virtue, whether it's by 100, 1,000, what have you. But it will never go beyond those 5 levels shown. And virtue, if you're an evil person and you've done all the evil quest chain lines, that just affects your personal virtue. It has no actual bearing on how the peasants view you. That's a different stat, and again, we'll go over that once we've owned our own territory. Now, I'm looking for Assassinate the Regional Lord right now, but while I'm looking for that, personal virtue affects your relationship with different officers. If you have the same virtue as another officer, it'll be easier for you to befriend them, and it'll be easier for you to invite them into your ranks. If you have an opposite alignment or an opposite virtue of the officer, they're more likely to reject your advances or even leave you in the future. So let's actually try to recruit Lubu as our test case. And again, we briefly went over recruiting, and that's embarrassing. So we briefly went over recruiting before, but just in case you either skipped that episode or I didn't do a good enough job explaining it, recruiting is based off 3 factors: your personal virtue, your personal strength, and your friendship ranking with the officer. If the officer is stronger than you, they're not your friend, and they're an opposite virtue, you're going to have a very low chance of recruiting them. Kind of like I'm having with Luber right now. He's stronger than me and we're not friends. So 2 out of the 3 requirements have failed. I'm not having that good of a time. Now, another thing that can happen during your run-throughs, as you just witnessed right there, officers you're friends with can interact with another officer on your behalf and increase your friendship rating with that officer. So right now, Sun Jian just put Zhang Ba and I in a room together. We shared a drink, and now Zhang Ba's friendship rating with me has risen. So there's a lot. It seems like a simple mechanic, but there's really a lot that goes into this game and the interactions. They've really overhauled the relationship system from 7. So, and we finally got Lubu. Awesome. Now let's see if I can't find that. There we go. Assassinate the regional lord. Now the regional lord is the prefect. Prefects are just, well, like it says, it's a regional lord. They serve under the ruler, but they have their own batch of land. And once you are a prefect, you can actually expand your own personal territory within your ruler's kingdom. So once you're made prefect, you can carry out your own invasions and expand your own territory that you are prefect over, while expanding your ruler's territory simultaneously. It's a nice little mechanic that they introduced. It sort of gives you a little more agency, a little more autonomy as a prefect, as opposed to years past. So here we go. We're trying to assassinate a prefect now. And again, this will remove, I believe it was Liu Mu, I believe it was Liu Mu. It will remove him from the map completely. We're going to kill him. And yeah, see, there you go. The toy troopers running by me. Their line of sight is really weird. And again, just a quick primer on stratagems while I wait to assassinate this prefect. As long as I have green bars filled to the number that is at the top right of the stratagem, I can use that stratagem continuously. Each stratagem has a cooldown time. Oh, it's Liu Fu. Each stratagem has a cooldown time, and as long as it's not a large-scale stratagem, I can use it as many times as I want. So let's assassinate this guy. I got to him without anyone noticing. Let's make this nice and quick. Once again, he's given his death quote. I have assassinated him, and now whichever kingdom he was serving is out a prefect. So I've crippled that kingdom. And there we go. It is a new month. We've assassinated Huangai and a prefect. That's actually going to wrap it up for this episode. Real quick episode. Just wanted to go over that quest chain line specifically because, like I said, you can change the landscape of China through that quest line. Yeah, as always, thanks again for hanging out with us. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for your comments, your likes, your retweets. And we hope to see you with our next episode. Take care, everybody.